We Gucci?
Boys, we're rolling.
About fucking time, dude. This slow
damn.
shit. Welcome back to Millennial Suck Podcast. Millennial Suck Podcast is live from the Bump Yard. Dylan, say something smart.
Agnosticism isn't real.
We're going to touch on that because you said it last time and you never clarified. Anyway, live from the Bump Yard. Shout out to Foreman Creative. We are here with the beautiful Kanto XX. Do I have to say the X's every time I say your name?
No.
Can I?
You can
I just
if
be like
you want.
Kanto XX, bro?
Yeah, but you have to like really emphasize that.
The second X, like Kanto XX. You know what I mean?
Please don't
Just
do
keep
that.
everything going down and then up on the back end. I like that. I mean, we're Kanto XX. You know what I'm saying?
I'm immediately regretting my name choice. Shit.
Wait till the next time I'm at one of your shows, dog. This is fucking Kanto XX. Can I MC your next show? Can I just be your hype man?
Yeah, of course.
Just in the background, just Kanto XX. Just find different ways to say it.
I'm gonna bring you up on stage in between each song so that you can announce the next one.
This one is by Kanto XX.
Yeah.
Foreman, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you turn me the sound down in my headphones just a hair? It's a touch too loud. I'm scaring myself every time I yell.
And
I don't want to be scared. Oh, that's actually great. Thank you. Can you hear everything okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm fucking good, man. So we were talking about autism.
We
were talking about
were.
how funny
We were.
autism is.
Okay, well, no, pause. Because I don't want
You
people to get the wrong
specifically were
idea.
talking about how funny it is to laugh at people who have autism.
Damn, okay, you got me. That's it, yeah. No, so like, we were saying, like, what was it, like, the hoodie thing.
Yeah.
I just be getting overstimulated, bro. And like, I don't like wearing multiple layers because I just be like,
It's too much.
take it off.
It's
Like,
too much. I feel
yeah.
like I'm in a fabric prison.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's like the second my arm feel like the inside of my shoulder here. What is this spot called?
Your armpit?
I mean, yeah, but
Below
like,
that?
what's the strong
Flank.
guy term for it, smart man?
flank.
Sure. Whenever my flank rubs up against like something too much, I'm just like, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
die
I'm
here.
upset. Yeah. Like, I'm upset, bro, and I'm not happy
He's like,
about
I'll
it.
burn this whole building to the ground because I did not dress
Oh
appropriately.
yeah. No, but like that's a huge thing. I didn't realize that was like that came into the autism thing. Is that the way the spectrum works is that it could be a lot of sensory things and it could be a lot of social things. So I was fucking with this one chick a
First
month
and
ago.
last, say her name.
No, I don't even know her last name. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's my dog. That's my dog.
So anyways, I was fucking with this chick and she's definitely one of those people that like you could tell like she's like, oh yeah, I'm on the spectrum. And I was like, oh yeah, I've always thought I was too. One time when we were hanging out, she dead ass handed me her phone and she was like, here, take the autism test. I was like, all right, I mean, bet, like, I want to know. So she told me the way it worked, right? So it's like this test, you take like handful, like 100 questions or something, which by the way was fucking excruciating. 100 questions with somebody with ADHD, not fun.
Yeah.
So I get done taking this test and she's like, okay, so basically the way that it works is like any score under 60, you're normal, like you're neurotypical, right? Like you're fine, like you usually most likely not going to have autism. Anything over 70, you're most likely neurodivergent, you're most likely on the spectrum, have some form of autism. Bro, I got done with that fucking test. I had 120. I was like, you know what?
Bro said if this was the SAT, I'd be a doctor right now.
I was scoring high, baby. I passed that bitch. Let's go.
That's the highest score I've ever gotten on a test ever.
It's like, yeah, this tracks because it's just a bunch of sensory shit. Like I'm not really too bad with social cues, but bro, if someone touches me the wrong way, if my blankets touch me the wrong way, it's over. I'm not going to sleep.
Yeah. See, that the funny thing about that is that Alyssa's brother is autistic, and we also have a friend who's autistic. So I used to say all the time, like, I fucking hate people who self-diagnose themselves. If you think you have something, go ask about it and all this other shit. And then I met Alyssa's brother and I started like hanging out with him. And the more I get to know that dude, the more I'm like, bro, you're just more me version of me. It's like you have the same issues I have. They're just crippling to you. That's, you know what I mean? I deal with them angrily. Like you just have them. That's the difference. You know what I mean?
That's how it is sometimes.
But she was telling our friend about how she, she thinks I might have autism, which is a great thing for your girlfriend to talk to her friends about. But so she sent me that same test, and I was gonna take it, but I probably have autism, so I forgot about it. I just haven't done so. Like I
haven't circled back to
it's like I was like, I don't need to take an autism test, but I will for you. And then like 2 weeks later, I was like, oh, I was supposed to do that. I was like, yeah, it's probably the autism.
Bro, it's a fucking mountain, bro. You're like, oh my God, 100 questions.
Dude,
what
it's also
the
like,
fuck,
it's
bro?
also like, but what if I am autistic and then I have to look, you know what I mean? It's like now I have to look at myself differently. You know what I mean? It's a whole situation. I don't want to deal with all
I've
that.
accepted it. I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, it's just a little quirk, you know?
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it would explain a lot of things. We say all the time, like, because you find out, like, the more we learn about autism is the more we start to figure out, like, how many people of, like, creative notoriety have had it.
I've most likely been
And
on
I've
the
gotten
spectrum.
to the points
Yeah.
where I'm not convinced that, like, autistic people, or, like, artistry and autisticry are not the same thing. You know what I mean? Like
Autisticry.
that's why the words are so similar. It's like you're
Autisticry.
artistic, but you're also autistic. That's why the words
That's
are
a
so
new
similar
one for
because they're
me.
like the same gene, I think.
I think you should go into science.
Bruh, I'm out here doing science,
I think you
dog.
might be a scientist and you might be onto something.
Listen, I'm going to do a podcast. Other scientists are going to call me a liar. I'm going to call myself Terrence Howard. I'm going to make up new math. It's going to be a good time.
What an autist he is.
I'm such an artist, dude.
Man.
So let's talk music.
Let's do it.
How would you describe your music?
You know what's so funny is whenever somebody asks me this question, I have the
You mean I'm not the
fucking-
first person to ask?
Every time I've had a conversation, they ask me this question, bro, and I think it's so hard to explain it.
I promise I'm listening to you. I just want that to shut up while you're talking. You were saying.
That's cold, man.
Rude, bro. It was rude.
I don't know.
Foreman,
How
it's
would
his
I-
computer.
How would I describe my music? The best way to describe my music is like hip hop, but like it's for the type of person that like will listen to like who am I thinking of? Fuck. Like if you listen to like NLE Choppa, right?
Right.
You're the type of person that'll like listen to NLE Choppa and
Walk
then
them down.
yeah, and you'll like bump that for a week, and then Sunday on that same week, after you've done listening to like NLE Choppa, K Flock, and fucking Big X the Plug, then you like go and you're like, actually, I kind of want to listen to Deftones. Like
Right.
That's like the best way to
It's
explain
honestly
it.
a good, like, if you listen to like just real hard up and coming like hip hop, and then just were like on the all week, and then on the weekend you were like, you know, it'd be a good reprieve.
Yeah, you know, a little bit of fucking grunge.
Just a
Like,
little-
let's throw that in there a
little
bit.
bullet for my Valentine.
Yeah, like, you know what? Let me listen to My Chem for like a week. That's
Honestly, I
fine.
like your music though. It is very good.
That's good. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Honestly, I was hoping you would have the balls to just look me dead in my face, and when I asked you how would you describe your music, just go, it's good.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, I
That's
would have
true.
hated that answer, but I also would have fucking loved that answer. You know what I mean?
No, dude.
If I ever ask an artist like, "Yo, how would you describe your music?" and they just looked at me and went,
fucking good.
"Fucking good," I'd have been like, "You got to listen to his music now,
Yeah, I mean that's
or
that's
their
fair.
music," because I don't want to assume other people can't make good music.
True. I don't know, dude. Like that question is so hard for me. I don't hate the question, but I hate getting asked it because for me, I'm like, bro, like I have no idea.
I think that's good though, because that means that you approach it so diversely.
Or
You know
like
what
on
I mean? With such a
case-by-case
diverse like mentality that like
Mhm.
you can't you don't feel comfortable putting it in one box because you don't want to misrepresent it, which kind of just is just indicative of the fact that you're adding more influences to your music than anything else. Which honestly, one might take to mean that you're not wave riding. You know what I mean? Because a big
Mhm.
problem in music, especially since the internet, age, is that artists will see what's big and then just do that. Like even like really big established artists will just follow wherever somebody else is taking whatever genre they're in.
Drake.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Sorry, my bad.
You are like us. You seen those videos, dude? The You Are Like Us video? That's so fucking funny.
Whoa, that's just so funny.
You are like us. You are like us. But no, it's just like so for you to
Also,
not.
wait, sorry, real quick. I know Mike's gonna watch this. I'm sorry for the Drake shot. I love you, baby.
I'm not. Speaking of that, it's really funny that I didn't know that those
Who
were
the fuck Mike was?
Yeah, like
well, you only everybody in that scene only ever calls him by Rizzo, which is so funny because it's his last name.
is it really?
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, like I was like, oh, maybe he'll know. I'm like, yo, it's cool, Mike. Da da da. And you're like, who the fuck is Mike?
Yeah, it's not even that with me. It's like, so, like when I'm in like the metalcore and all those scenes, right? I know people's individual names because there's no stage names there. It's like they are the band, whatever. But when you start talking about like pop artists, EDM artists, all these other people, like all these other artists in these other genres that I meet, they tell me that I meet them at shows or events. They tell me their artist name. We talk back and forth, and then that's just how I know them. Like, I didn't know Myth had a real name until I heard him.
Bro, I was at the party with him that last week, and he was like, oh yeah, my name's Tyler. And then we were all like, oh, okay, cool. And he was like, but that's not my real name. And I was like,
then why would you give it to anyone?
Bro, what the fuck do you mean?
He confused the fuck out of me.
I love him so much, bro.
I do too. Myth is one of my favorite. We've got him scheduled in a couple weeks, actually.
Good. I can't wait to listen to that.
I think it's either the week before or the week after Rizzo comes in. I can't remember. But we got him scheduled. But no, he I didn't even know he had a real name. And then like I'm standing there talking to Wes, and then I just hear him introduce himself as Tyler to someone. I was like, oh.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro.
But then I mentioned that to him, and he was like, yeah, but you don't know about my third name or my secret fourth name. And I'm like, bro, why do you have so many goddamn names, dude?
It honestly adds like a bit of mystique to him, though. I kind of like it.
I'm not convinced any person knows his real first name.
I'm willing to bet there's
How
a good
funny
chance,
would it be if he just been giving people
The
like
wrong
wrong names? Like he was
name.
named Tyler at birth and he goes by Myth as an artist, but his real name is something that he changed his name legally to without telling anybody. So the only people that know his real name are like him and the government. You know what I mean?
That's it.
His employer, you know what I mean?
He stays off the grid,
That's
bro.
it. Like the people that like it's a need to know thing. I think Myth is just like he doesn't. I don't think anyone knows his real name. That's my new conspiracy theory.
I think Myth
I'm
is
willing to believe that.
is a crime boss. I don't think we know.
Turns out Myth's real last name is Gianni.
Gianni.
Oh.
Scaraducci. Fucking.
But no, going back to what we were talking about, I think that, you know, the fact that you have such a difficult time, like kind of putting your own music in a box is indicative of the fact that you're not wave riding. You're making what you like. And if you take influences from other things, it's not because you're trying to dick ride those waves. It just is something that works for you.
Yeah, like my number one thing when it comes to like making a track, because I haven't really like I haven't made anything this year. I haven't worked on anything, which is kind of bad. But
depends on how you look at it, but continue.
There's been like a lot of shit going on and like everything. And so with everything that I've made previously, though, the way that I always write my music is like not necessarily like, obviously it's never been like a wave ride thing. It's just whatever like my wave is.
Right.
So like if I'm going through like a phase and I'm like, yo, I've been really fucking with this genre of music and like I want to try my hand at it. Like with the hyperpop song that me and Rizzo did. That was like the first time we'd ever done anything outside of like hardcore rap together.
Right.
And I don't think anyone's ever heard the first hyperpop song that we did together. It was called Road Trip. Bro, it is the most dog shit. It is the most dog ass fucking bullshit song. I love listening to it because I love bumping it in the car, but like that song will never see the light of day. Like I promise you.
It's like I had fun with it, so I listen to it, but you don't get it.
Yeah, bro. Like it was like very clear, like, oh, these niggas have never made hyperpop. Like, good lord.
What? Like, I'm so, like, this is my age showing. I'm so ignorant to, like, the new subgenres that are popping up.
Dude, there's too many.
Like, I didn't know that rage was, like, a wave until I heard Jeezy say it. He said it to me in a podcast, and I was like, what the fuck is rage? And then I started, like, clicking what rage I kind of just figured it out through seeing younger artists and stuff like that. So, like, how would you describe hyperpop?
Hyperpop is like, so there's...
It's like pop on Adderall.
No, it really is. So hyperpop, this is what sucks about being like a music professional and then being like anything above that. Anything above a music professional, even if you're just like a music enthusiast, like, and you're like right before being a professional and it's not your job to know about music, bro, I swear to God, this shit gets so confusing. Cause like with hyperpop, right? That's a subgenre of like pop.
Right.
But hyperpop has subgenres that are like Midwest hyperpop, and then you've got like it's like hardcore hyperpop or like the fucking glitchcore hyperpop and shit like that, and like it just like splits off into so many different trees. The best way I can explain like hyperpop as a general thing is just like it's like pop mixed with a lot of usually hip hop elements, but then it's kind of like cranked up to 11. So like there's artifacting intentionally put into the songs. It's supposed to be like emotional through like you bring out emotion in like the dynamics of your songs by chaos instead of like controlled like
Interesting.
Instrumentals. So like you take a lot of like parts of your own audio and chop it into parts that don't make sense, or like the parts that are completely different now. And like in the hyperpop song that we do perform, the Issue song, we have a breakdown at the end, and the breakdown is literally just the hook, but it's so chopped up that it sounds completely different.
Okay, so we can cut this little segment out because I want to look up what was the name of the one you guys have already done.
If you're gonna open up Spotify, it's not gonna be on there.
Okay, is it on YouTube?
SoundCloud.
All right, I can get on SoundCloud from here.
Say, I think
I
it might be
believe in myself.
Nah, just play some more Natasha Owens.
Just only Natasha Owens, bro.
We'll just talk about her for 2
We can
hours.
talk about her for 2 hours. I think I'm in love with her because it's like part of me has to like part of me like for fun I have to believe that it's real, right?
There's no way that that's fake. Like she's doing it like as a parody.
But it's also like if she is doing it as a parody,
No, okay, look, here's the thing.
you know what I mean?
I would be willing, you'd also probably want to look on Rizzo's
Okay.
account. I would be willing to believe that music is a parody.
Is this Rizzo here in bed with my sister?
What the fuck is that?
I mean, I'm going to click on it either way. So it's definitely not.
It's definitely not
I'm glad
him.
Rizzo's not in bed with my sister.
Oh, it's that one right there.
This one here?
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, the guy in Cincinnati, Ohio.
all right.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about his pictures that he picks. Yeah, issues. Yeah.
Issue. Okay.
Okay, funny that he titled that his song featuring me. But
Oh, okay.
okay.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into
So
that.
this part we'll cut out just so I can listen to it for a second. Oh, I turned the sound off. Fucking stupid, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to this entire song in its entirety. Said that was redundant later. But anyway.
you're good.
No, I actually fuck with that heavy. So why is it, let's go back for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it interesting to you that he listed it as his song featuring you and not the other way around? Start
Because-
beef. I'm starting
Okay,
beef on Millsuck, bro.
look. So when I said that, I was a little pressed because I forgot that it was technically his song. He's kind of like, for that song, he's kind of like DJ Khaled.
Okay.
Okay? Because he's only on the hook.
Okay.
You know, he like, doesn't have a verse on the song. And I think we should honestly redo that song and have him on it because he did a good job on the hook. And if he's going to be his song, then it should like be his song.
Yeah.
You know? But like, for all intents and purposes, it should be Kanto XX. featuring
Shots
Rizzo.
fired.
I'm
Boom,
just,
boom,
I'm just
boom,
saying,
boom.
bro.
I'm going to have
just
him on
saying.
here for his
I
response
love you.
in 2
I'm
weeks.
sorry. I'm just saying.
In 2 weeks, I'm going to have Mike on here.
Nah, that's his song, though. That's his song. I think we should add a verse for him, though, on it.
I think, like, just, if anything, just do, like, a re-imaging of it. You know what I mean? Just
Because it's not out yet.
Yeah, I would. Fuck it. So, how did you get into making music?
Okay. I was... All right, let me start from the very beginning, and this is so fun. I've actually never told this story to anybody except for like my really close friends, and it's so.
Do you
it's not
consider
that-
us
it's-
close friends?
Yeah.
No, it's because you're on a
Oh,
podcast.
yeah.
Fuck you. Continue. It's like, I've hung out with you 3 times. Anyway, go ahead.
This is so funny to me, though. It's so stupid. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking when I was a kid, but this shit is so funny when I look back on it. Like, so I grew up when I was really young. My parents did a lot of like splitting. I didn't see my mom, and like long story short, like I ended up like moving houses a lot. And so I grew up in Cincinnati when I was really young, but I got super blessed by my grandparents. They took me in when I was starting school. So when I started like middle school, like just coming out of grade school and stuff, I was in middle school and I was living in Mason, bro. Like I was living in Mason, which is a great area.
Yeah,
like it's a nice area.
It's a nice
like,
area.
I could never say or front like that. Like I didn't get blessed with my like schooling.
I will say though, statistically, one of the most racist areas
It's
in the
fucking
city.
awful. I won't even get into that right now.
We'll talk
because
about that
it's
on the bonus content.
Yeah, that shit is bad. And people don't know about Mason the way that I do. Like, people think like everybody there is rich, bro. It's so funny, the divide in like wealthy versus poverty out there. It like hits instantly.
That's how it is in Westchester too.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I live in Sharonville right now, and it's right next to Westchester. It's also right
We
next to
literally
Mason.
had fucking the place that I lived, like once I was in high school, bro, they had meth houses like every other house. We used to go to this place called the Meadows, bro. And the Meadows just dumb shit. But besides that, so when I was a kid, I grew up and I went to like Mason District schools, right?
Right.
So they have like a really good music program there. So they start you out on music shit like in 5th, 6th grade. And so you start on like a recorder, whatever, So I was doing that shit. It came to like middle school. And I was fucking asked about whether or not I wanted to go into band.
Nice.
In my dumb ass, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, bro. But I was like, yeah, I want to do like some band shit. Like, you know,
Yeah,
as a kid, I was like,
tuba up, bro.
I was like, you know, like this will be cool. Like this will be fun. Like, you know, my kid ass brain, bro. For some reason, I swear to God, I shit you not. I don't know what part of me thought it, but I was like, I gotta pick the saxophone because bitches love saxophones.
Bitches do love saxophone.
Call me a
Bro.
bitch if you want to. I love saxophone.
It's me. I'm bitches.
It's me.
Bro,
I'm
I
bitches.
swear to God, bro. But like, I was like 8, 9 years old.
You
or
were just
something
like,
that.
bitches
I was
gonna
like,
love this.
bro, hoes gonna love this
Just this
saxophone,
deep tone
bro.
horn,
I swear
bro.
to God. So I'm like, all right, like fuck it. So like, let's let it rock. So I started band in like middle school, blah, blah, blah. So I stayed on saxophone, bro. Like my whole middle school, I played saxophone. High school, I was doing classic, like I was doing concert band. I was doing fucking jazz band. I was doing marching band. I was doing fucking my junior year of high school. My senior year of high school, I had finished all my credits early. And I was taking like early and late dismissal and shit. So I would literally spend all my time in the band room, bro. I would be, so I was still doing concert, doing jazz band, doing marching band, going across the country for that shit. But then I was also taking like music theory classes.
Nice.
And I was in another like a different concert band playing a different instrument because like I was like, this is the shit. Like this is my shit. This is
Bro,
what I'm
your
gonna
school
do.
had such a good music program.
Dude, I shit you not, we had,
it was a public school, right?
yep.
To have this intricate of a music like it's not even just like a course. It's like over years.
No,
it's
it's-
like, no, you want to be
yeah,
a musician, bro. We got you.
Yes, it's crazy. The way that they had it set up. So Mason has such a huge student body. Like my graduating class was like 960 people, I think. Like 980 something people.
Damn.
Bro,
My
it was
graduating
bad.
class was 306 people, and it was the most people by almost double that have ever graduated
Bro,
out of my high
it
school.
was so, dude, our graduation took hours.
That's crazy.
But so yeah, like the way they had the band the band program set up, like they had so many people that did music. So they had orchestra, which was like strings and shit. And that was separate. Like I didn't fuck with any of that. But even just for concert band, they had 2 bass level concert bands, 2 mid-level concert bands, and then 1 top concert band.
Okay.
So they had like the top one was like Wind Symphony, which is the like the highest one. That's like the you're really good shit. And then they had symphonic band. So like since my sophomore year, I was in top second band. I was in symphonic, bro. So I'm fucking around, whatever. I get into senior year, I'm in Wind Symphony. So then I drop back down to symphonic too, and I start playing a different instrument. And then I'm doing music theory. And then like all while this is happening, like my junior and sophomore year, I like fuck around with like the idea of making like hip hop and shit with like
Right.
some people, you know? So you spend enough time in the music in the you know, in the band rooms, you got band kids coming in with fucking MIDI keyboards and a laptop, and you sit out there for 6 hours after class, after school, and you're just fucking around making beats and shit. And then it starts to progress and progress and progress. And by my senior year, I'm like doing tiny little shows in front of coffee houses of like 20 people, you know? And it's like, that's where it kind of started. And I fucked up my senior year of high school, didn't go to class. I started working full time and I started smoking, which was not a good, everything else that happened around then. So I fucked up my chances going into concert band because I was like, oh, I'm going to like fuck around and go to CCM. Like I'll go to UC and I'll go to their like prestigious music classes and shit. Da 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 da. And I dropped my GPA so bad that they couldn't accept me.
Damn.
Yeah. And so like I had done the audition and everything because there was like a full on audition. And for all intents and purposes, I passed the audition to get into CCM, and they couldn't let me in because my GPA was so low.
Damn, bro.
So at that point, I'm like, all right, what the fuck am I gonna do? So I just was like, I'll take a break. I took a break, and I just kept making music. And then 2018 rolled around, didn't go back to school really. 2019, I was going to Blacklight, started making more of my own music. I was like, fuck it, whatever.
So how long have you been going to Blacklight?
My first session was in 2018 with Tony.
Damn, you're like indentured there, bro.
Bro, I swear to God, I was like OG. I was OG. I worked with Tony one time, which is so funny because Tony's like the nicest dude ever. But I worked with Tony one time, and then that was in 2018, and then I went a whole year without recording anything in the studio, and then I came back like 2019. And that was when I met Max.
God, I love that man. Shout out to Max.
Shout out to Max Jeezy, bro. That's my boy.
Only the inner circle calls him Jeezy, and I've noticed that lately.
That's true. That's true. But
it's just it's like the people that all the young Maj guys and the close people that'll call him Jeezy, and then there's like one or two, maybe a few more of his artists that'll call him
outside
that. But then there's like you be going to his parties or shit. Everybody's like, "Where's Max?" I'm like, "Who gives a fuck about Max? Where's Jeezy at?" Oh wait, we're talking about the same person. But go ahead.
So my second session at Blacklight was with Max, bro. I recorded the best music I'd ever recorded. I was like, yo, this is hard. Da 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 da. I was finding myself as a musician, and every time after that, I was like, I want Max. I want Max. I want Max. I want Max. Like it wasn't even like that. There was nothing wrong with Tony. Like when I saw him the first time, like not at all. But like when I went in and like the way Max like clicks with a client, bro, I swear to God, it's magical.
That's one of the things I love about Max is as far as working with Max, because obviously I worked with Max for years. And it's like he's very meticulous about getting like what it is that he wants out of something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He doesn't like when things don't come out the way that they're intended to come out. And when things get tricky musically in that way, he fucking grinds it out.
Yep.
So I imagine working with him as a producer is probably, it's like the close, because we talk about this all the time. Collaboration is hard because we're already in the middle of creation, which in itself is creating something that doesn't already exist. So how do you tell someone like, hey, I want it to feel and sound, but you know what I mean? And all that shit. So it's already so hard to get what you want. For every person you add into the collaborative mix, like it's already getting further and further away from what you had envisioned. And Max does a really good job of trying to iron that lane out.
Yep. I always say that like the reason I keep coming back to Max is because somehow, I don't know what type of black magic this nigga uses, but he just gets in my head, bro. He'd be like, I'm gonna put some sauce on it and then let me know what you think. And I'm gonna be like, all right. So then 10 minutes goes by. I'm chilling back in the seat and he plays that shit. I'm like, Max.
God damn, dude.
I'm like, Max, what are you doing? That was crazy, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, every single time, I've never had him, like, very rarely will Max, like, produce something for me and be like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, nah, not on this one.
Yeah.
Like, almost every time, that man knows exactly, like, the vibe that I'm going for. He knows exactly what to execute on, how to do it quickly, how to do it efficiently. And he knows me as an artist.
And that's also the benefit of using the same producer every time you record, is that the more they work with you, the more they get to, because, you know, when you're making music, it's more about feel than it is anyway. That's how you communicate with things. So it's like he kind of understands like the feel of your music and how, what he needs to do to make whatever you guys are doing feel as much like you as possible. I mean, he's also a dope producer. Let's be real.
Yeah, he really is. Wait. Engineer.
I'm sorry,
technically,
engineer.
Technically, he doesn't produce. He would want me to say that. That's for you, Max. That's for you, Jeezy.
Listen, those are industry distinctions, and no one else cares about that except for the people in the industry.
Listen, you gotta let him know.
Yes, all right. He's the best engineer.
He is, though. I think he actually might, hands down, be one of, if not maybe it's just because I'm just biased.
You're
I
gonna
think
be
he's
biased.
the best engineer.
He's pretty fucking
in
good as an
Ohio.
engineer. I mean,
At
I haven't
least.
met every engineer in Ohio,
That's true.
but he's
let me
he's
rephrase.
probably
Let me
he's
rephrase.
among the best I know.
Yes, he's the best engineer for me.
Not to accept our good friend Dylan Foreman over here.
I am not as good at engineering as Max is.
Yeah, I
that's
wasn't
for
gonna
sure.
say it. I wouldn't
Me,
say
me and
much.
Me and Max are in two very, very different lanes too.
Well, it's what Max does for a living. It's what you do. It's what you're attempting to do for a living. And there's a
Well,
very
I mean,
steep-
besides that, like two different styles. Like if
Yeah.
you want something and you try to communicate that, Max is gonna get it. I'm gonna give you a completely different thing because I do rock. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a totally different feel. I go for totally different textures and tones.
he just did. Never mind. Anyway,
Okay.
so you got denied from music college because you didn't have the GPA.
Yep,
What
yep.
happened from there?
So I don't know. Just kind of floated around. Got a cocaine addiction. Dropped my cocaine addiction.
How old were you when you got addicted to cocaine?
I think I was 19, 20.
How long were you on it? I talk about this because I also have had substance abuse issues in the
Yeah.
past. Not cocaine specifically, but there was a period of time where it honestly has barely ended, where anything I can get fucked up on, I will. And
Was-
so
yeah.
I would go through phases. Like for a period of time, it would be alcohol, and for a period of time, it would be something else. You know what I mean? But for the most part, like it's just been like we talk about it all the time, like the difference between addicts. Like there's people who get addicted to a substance. And then there's people who are addicted for the sake of just not being sober.
Sober, yep. I
So-
know exactly what you mean.
So let's talk about are you okay with talking
Yeah,
about your
let's talk
addiction?
about it. Fuck it.
Let's talk about your addiction. So you were 19 when you got
I think so, yeah. I think it was around my, like, just before my 20s or, like, in my 20s.
okay, and then when did you get clean from cocaine?
Ooh, so, okay, here's what I'll say to preface. So, like, this is one of those things where, like, I'm a very, very small percentage of people. And I recognize that, and I recognize how fucking insanely lucky that I am. Because, like, I didn't go to rehab, or like I didn't get put in jail or anything.
End up in a hospital bed
End up in
or
a
anything.
hospital. Yeah. Like there are plenty of opportunities, which I'll explain in a second, but like there are plenty of opportunities where I could have or absolutely should have been in jail, like in federal prison.
Oh yeah, once
You know?
I have a story of where I should definitely be in federal
yeah.
prison right
Yeah,
now. But
me too, yeah. And so it's like I should be in jail, in federal prison, I should be dead or in a hospital. And so like I got so lucky. So like when I was like through, I'm sorry if my grandpa listens to this, I'm sorry. I love you to death.
Sorry, Grandpa.
This is not your fault. You just happen to be the one that I was living with. Anyways,
So it's his fault.
no. I was adult. I was an adult.
I'm
I was
kidding.
a grown adult. So yeah, like I'm working full time. I'm out of school. I'm not doing anything. Whatever. Most of my time is spent going to work, coming home, getting high, like smoking weed and shit, and like and chilling with like people that I shouldn't have been chilling with, So what ended up happening was like you get really, I don't know if you know I'm sure you have, if anybody has worked in like food service, then and you know the culture around food service, you know that like at some point if you work there long enough, that just becomes your family. So like those motherfuckers are the people you see day in, day out. Like you start hanging out with them, you start spending time with them. Like that's the only people that you see in your life.
Also in food service, drugs are rampant.
No,
When I worked
it's
at
so
a
bad.
steakhouse once, and like we were like that. Like every weekend, we would have like weekly events. Like they would be like on Thursday nights we would have poker night, and then on the Saturdays we would just have beer pong tournaments and stuff like that. But like it would literally just be all the people in the that worked in the store, and then all of our friends, and those
Yep.
were the only people that were there.
And that's how it was everywhere that I went. Donato's, fucking Chipotle that I worked at. All of those places are the reasons that I have any of the addictions that I have right
Dude,
now.
they're rampant. We had a guy who literally invited me to an Easter egg hunt, and I said, all right, bet. And I just figured we were all going to get fucked up and look for Easter eggs, which sounded fun enough. You know what I mean? I was like 18, 19 at the time. And he goes, all right, so it's $50 a person. And I was like, the fuck is it $50 a person for, bro? Eggs are not that expensive. You know what I mean? And this is in 2011 or so.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's not that expensive to buy eggs. He goes, oh, no, it's what we put in the eggs. I was like, what are you putting in the eggs? Are you putting my money in the eggs for other people to find? I'd rather just not go. And he was like, no, we all pitch in, we buy a bunch of different drugs, and then we put those in the eggs. And the rules are whenever you find an egg, you have to take the drug that's in it and then keep looking. And I was like, that sounds dangerous. And I'm not going. And then it turned out like literally half the store was there. And then the next day, 3 of them called off.
Yeah. That does not surprise me whatsoever. Donato's fucking shout out Mason Donato's, bro. Shout out Kat, shout out Nick, all you fucking psychopaths. Those motherfuckers are the reason that I started smoking cigarettes at 17, because if you didn't have a cigarette in your hand, you weren't getting a break.
Boy.
And then it just escalated. So like to get back into like the actual like serious shit. So I had always like been around stuff like when I was younger, like I like every other person in my generation or a lot of other people in my generation, I started smoking weed way too young, and like I was doing like shit I should not have been. By the time I was 16, I was doing like fucking morphine.
How old were you when you started smoking weed?
13.
See, the first
12,
time I was
13
ever... my story is unique in that I was forced to smoke weed by someone who will not be named because they were in fear of my knowledge of the fact they were doing so. I was 11.
Yeah, nah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That just shouldn't happen, man.
It shouldn't. Like, that's a big thing. Like, because, like, I'm not against weed.
Mm-mm.
I am against the non-apologeticness of weed. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who will not like obviously weed has, you know, benefits, and obviously it's not as harmful to you as pretty much any other substance you can put in your body like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, it does have negative consequences,
especially when you're before you
it'll
grow.
fuck if you do weed too much at a young age, it'll fuck the way your brain develops. So it's like, even if you start as an adult, though, you have people that'll be high all day. And then when you stop smoking weed because you want to get your mind right, they're like, it's not the weed, dude. Maybe it's just something. It's like, sometimes it's the weed. The weed changes your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
It changes the way everything operates inside your head. And it's like, if you've got that shit like in copious amounts in your body for long periods of time, it takes a minute to flush that shit out and kind of look at life from like a clean lens.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, bro, if it takes you like if you have to smoke 2 blunts before you can get high anymore, take a tea break.
No shit.
If it takes you like 7 hits of the dab pen, take a tea break. Like, good Lord, bro.
Dude, I was off for like 2 months, and then I just recently started smoking again. But like, we were at Max's party.
Uh-huh.
I smoked 2 blunts in the same rotation, like I had been smoking nonstop the whole time. And then immediately Wes was talking to me about something, and I had no idea what the fuck we were talking about.
It was just words.
But luckily, he had also been equally high, because before he got there, he had ripped dabs, and he lived 10 minutes away. So he got there, and there was just 2 blunts in his face. And we were like, fuck it, run it. You know what I mean? That's why we ended up in the corner watching wrestling together for an hour. Favorite party I've ever been to. It was just
that was
me.
a good-ass party.
It was just me and Moshley in the corner for an hour and a half, just watching Money in the Bank on his phone.
What the fuck?
It was a good time. But you were saying, so you were into too much stuff too young.
Yeah, dude. It snowballs. So
No pun intended?
No pun intended. Oh shit, what the fuck? My bad.
Rude. No, it's okay.
Sorry, one sec.
No, you're good, man.
Let me turn that off. So yeah, like it just, I'm like 17, 18, you know, smoking cigarettes already. And then it gets so bad. Like Donato's was like one of those places where like, you hear about it and you don't believe the shit that you hear. Dude, dead ass. And I'm about to say some shit. Obviously, I won't say anybody's names or nothing
First
like
and
that.
last, drop them.
Yeah,
Dox those motherfuckers.
bro, listen, bro. I'm not trying to catch that smoke. He still follows me on Instagram. Absolutely the fuck not.
The last thing you want is a meth head following you.
No, he's not. Look.
I'm
I'm not even
shit.
talking about the meth yet, bro.
We're not even there yet.
Not
That's
even
my
there
favorite
yet.
part.
Bro, we used to have Fridays and Saturdays, and then on football season, Sundays would be like our biggest, you know, like days, right?
Right.
But you'd have like lull moments, right? So we'd be dead as fuck, like right before it got busy again. We would like get fucked up. like fucked up when we were working on Fridays and Saturdays. So someone would have like a dab rig in their car in the back. I remember somebody brought in 4 Locos and we all got fucking shit-faced during our shift. And then we fucking, the worst one, and I will never forget this, bro. I will never forget this because even I was like, yo, this shit's gotta stop. We had, and this is what I'm talking about, I'm not gonna name nobody because this shit's fucked up, bro. We had a delivery driver that between deliveries would come back and we would all do shots of Jaeger.
Nice. That's gross.
Yeah. Dude, I'm like 19 at the time, bro. We're getting fucking hammered in the walk-in fucking freezer. And our delivery driver is like, boom, pounds one back, drops that shit on the ground, and then fucking grabs a pizza and drives off. Like, I'm like,
that's how you do
dude.
it, bro. Just
like,
take 2 shots every time you make a delivery.
Like, at the time, you don't think about it. But now, like, looking back, I'm like, holy fuck. How did none of us get, 1, arrested, 2, fucking killed?
Oh,
you know,
shit.
like... Dude, like it was bad. And so like you have like weekends like that all week for like, and I was there for years. I was there for like 2-3 years. And then eventually you go from like drinking, getting fucked up, smoking, doing dabs, and now you see people going to the bathroom every 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. You're like, what the fuck's going on? And then somebody looks at you and is like, hey, you want to go into the bathroom and do a line? And I'm like, okay, fuck it. So, you know, like I'm impressionable. So I go into the bathroom and I do drugs, and then it all just goes down from there. So thank you, Donatos, for my cocaine addiction, for everything else that happened to me.
You heard it here first. Pizza's a gateway drug.
Pizza is a gateway drug. But so long story short, after all that shit happened, I got into a bunch of shit, and like I almost crashed my car coming home from a binge. And then the last day, I was up for 36 hours. And I was driving home from my manager's house, and I almost crashed my truck, and then I freaked the fuck out, and then I got home, and I had to do a shift. I had to do an 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift. And so I got home, hadn't slept yet, changed into my work clothes, went to work, and like I'm still like high, like doing bumps like every 10 minutes, like because I'm fucking busted at this point.
Right.
So I'm in the back doing this shit, and I still feel awful about this. One of my really good friends that I'm still really good friends with, his name's Zach. He was there opening the store with me, and I'm in the back doing bumps and shit in between like fucking opening the store, and I just stopped, and I like stopped in the back, and I just started like uncontrollably puking.
Oof.
Like bad. Like I could not leave the trash can. I was puking so bad. And I like, when it stopped, I looked up at him and I was like, dude, like I cannot do this. I think I'm going to die. And I was like, I can't open the store. Like I need to go home and like take insulin because I didn't know if it was my diet, my blood sugar, or if it was like, I thought I was like ODing.
Are you diabetic?
Yeah, type 1.
Oh, damn. You was doing coke on with diabetes,
Yep,
bro?
that's what just went off on my phone. It was my pod thing. It was telling me my sensor's gonna end soon. But so I was diabetic, not taking care of my blood sugar. So like in that morning that I got home, dude, my mouth dry as fuck. My mouth was so dry. It was so bad, bro. So all that's happening. I'm like, dude, I gotta go home. Like, I can't do this. Like, I think I'm gonna die. Like, I'm freaking the fuck out. So he's like, all right, dude, like, I'll just open it up. I'll have somebody else come in and help me. So I left. I get home. I took a shit ton of insulin. And then I'm still throwing up for like a little bit. And then I passed out. Like, not like passed out, but like I laid down in my bed and I just prayed to God that I wouldn't OD. Prayed to God. And so, like, I was laying in my bed and I woke up and I felt fine. Like, after however long I had slept. And I was like, thank Christ. And I never touched a line of coke after that.
Bro, you came real close, it sounds like.
Dude, I was like freaking the fuck out. But that's why I say in the beginning of this, like, I am a type of person that like, I am a very, very small percentage. Because most people get to a point of their addiction where like, it's all or nothing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get the opportunity to be like, I'm not going to do coke anymore.
No, that's the thing that a lot of people who've never dealt with addiction don't understand. There's no just stopping after a certain point. Like, once you get, like, there's a certain precipice you get to with any drug. Like, it really isn't even about the drug. It's about your attachment to it. And once you get to that, like, boundary, it's like once you've crossed it, there's no just stopping, dude.
No.
No, I had a real bad drinking problem, and I also had an Adderall issue at the time. And I was up near middle. So I was living in Westwood, and I was working at UC, and I had gone up to Middletown to buy some Adderall off of a dude that I had worked with who lived there. And while I was there, he asked if I wanted to go to the bar with him, and I'm a heavy drinker, and it's 7 p.m. on a fucking Friday, and I forgot that I had to work in the morning. So I'm like, oh, hell yeah. So we go to the bar, and we're there for hours, dude. And I don't even realize how late it is. We go back to his place. I've taken free Adderall at this point. And so I'm up. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, wait, aren't you supposed to work today? And I was like, what time is it? He goes, dude, it's like 3:30. And I'm in Middletown. I had to be in Norwood at 4 a.m.
Nah,
and I was like, oh, fuck. So I'm like, let me get out of here. Now, in the car was, I think it was 20 milligram Adderalls, an ounce of weed, and an unregistered pistol.
Yep.
And I'm doing fucking 95, near blackout drunk on 75 North trying to get to Norwood. So I get pulled over on the highway, and the cop comes up, and I gave the worst excuse ever. And he goes, where are you coming from? I go, oh, a friend of mine called. She needed a ride from the bar. I dropped her off. Now I'm on my way to work. And he goes, how much did you have to drink while you were there? And then I went, I didn't drink anything. I just went to drop her off at her place, and now I'm going home. He goes, well, your car smells like whiskey, which in the moment I didn't really recognize how much of a statement that was. Because you know how much whiskey you have to drink
for
to
it to
smell like whiskey,
like,
dude?
You could tell which drink it was.
Like you knew what I was drinking. Probably could have been like, is that Jack and Coke? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Who's got a Jack and Coke in here? You know what I mean? So I was like, dumbest excuse ever. I was just like, she was really drunk, dude. And he goes, well, she must have been if your car still smells like it. I was like, I don't know. So he goes, I tell you what, come out, we'll do the light test. If you pass it, I'll just send you home with a ticket because I know you got to get to work. I was like, I appreciate that. So I get out, and then as my foot's hitting the ground, I have remembered the 60 years of felonies that are sitting in my car. And I was like, oh no.
Better lock in, baby.
Now, luckily, this was not my first time doing the light test. Any alcoholics out there will tell you they've done the light test, and it's not that hard to beat. You just got to be like focused. You ever focus so much on one part of your body for a long period of time that once you stop doing it, it's like the rest of your body feels like it just shuts down for a second?
Yeah,
dude, I was literally focusing so hard because I'm like, because the thing is, if I'm drunk, they're arresting me.
Yeah.
If they're arresting me, they're searching the car.
They're going to search the car. And
they search the car. They're finding the drugs, the gun. You know what I mean?
It's over.
I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I don't even have insurance at this time. So there's like 30 charges here. So I was focusing so hard on following his little fucking light that when by the time he was like, all right, I think you're good, my fucking legs almost gave out. So he's like, which is not a good indicator that you're not drunk. So I get back in the car. He goes back to his car. He writes my ticket. He brings it back to me. He goes, all right, be safe. Don't do anything crazy. I was like, all right, cool. So as I'm pulling off the shoulder, I literally ran over like 2 different piles of debris getting into the lane. And it's at that moment, I know for a fact that cop was like, I fucked up. But anyway, I got to the job site, and the person that I was meeting was like, yeah, you were late. So I went to McDonald's, and we just worked for like 3 hours, and then I just went back home, and I was just like still fucked up.
Hey,
like I went home, had a couple more drinks, and then went to sleep.
Oh my God.
Like, and then, I look back on that now. That was one of the moments where I was like, I really need to chill. I also saw a picture of myself when I was deep into Adderall and whiskey where my eyes just looked like jaundice yellow. Like, you know how you get like those rings around your eyes? Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, I was drinking so much and doing so much Adderall that I was just sleeping like 7 hours a week and just drunk all the time to the point where it looked like I had liver failure, but only around my eyes. It was insane.
Yeah. There's a picture somewhere out there on somebody's phone of me at a party. And I had just done like my second dab ever. And I also had just done my first Xanax ever. And I remember sitting on this couch, dude, in this random fucking person's house. I had never met this dude before in my life. I'm at some dude's house doing like drugs I've never done before. And I remember there's a video of my friend that took a video of me and just me gone. just gone. I remember seeing that video and like, I still think it's funny to a degree, but also I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking like back then?
Dude, I think about that shit all the time. Like there was a time, it was when I was working with Twig, where we went to Columbus for a massive tailgate, which was this big like tailgate party they would do in the parking lot right before Rock on the Range, when it was still Rock on the Range. And the guys had played it, and then while we were there, someone that I knew had worked for the radio station that sponsored Rock on the Range. So she was going to get us weekend passes for Saturday and Sunday, and Wes and I were going to stay there, and she was going to take us back. But that ended up not being the case, because one of the people who was supposed to drive was our friend Jamie, who had just gotten into a motorcycle wreck. And he, not thinking about it, took his pain meds while he'd been drinking. So there's no way he's driving back. So now the only way to get both vehicles back, which is they needed both to transport everybody, was for one of us to drive. And Wes had been drinking all day, but I'd been running merch, so I wasn't drinking until about an hour and a half before this. But I'd also eaten 2 Xanaxes from a friend we had that we had met there. Or I'm sorry, from a friend that we met there. And I'd also been drinking for like an hour at that point. So Xanax and alcohol is...
Yeah.
So they're just like, yeah, you got to drive the van home. And I'm like... huh? Oh, no, it was Wes's car that I had to drive. And I was like, oh, no. So we get to the highway and everybody's already out, because they've just been throwing back for like 3-4 hours. And everybody's asleep before we get 2 miles down 71. So I pull off this little Thornton's and I grab like a hot coffee, one of those like Starbucks like iced frap things, and like just like a shit ton of snack cakes. I was like, boy, we got to stay awake. And I'm like literally like I'm just cruising down 71 half asleep for an hour and a half till I get us all back to the studio. And it was just like, I look back on moments like that and I'm just like, dude, we could have died.
Yeah, very easily.
Like there was a moment we were driving back from Columbus at like 3:30 in the morning when we weren't planning on driving back. We were going to stay there, but everybody decided to come home. So I was driving back and Wes Davis like had showed us that, like, have you ever seen that video of like people misspelling pregnant? And the guy like Pergonanot, you know what I mean? I had just seen that video for the first time earlier that day, and I was making jokes about it all day. So we're pulling off the Spring Grove exit on 74, which is where our practice space was. It was over there by what's now the Animal Care Center on North Side, over by the cemetery. And we pull off, and as I'm pulling off to the exit, I was just like, I'm Pergonanot. And Davis was like, what's up, buddy? And I did not respond. And the car is now just going trailer and all towards that like barrier wall. And he just goes, oh shit, puts us right back on. I snapped in like, what happened, dude? What are you doing? Get off the wheel. Like I had no idea why he was grabbing the wheel.
Ooh, yeah.
But I look back on all those times and I was like, damn, because there was a moments where all of us had driven the van fucked up. And like, I look back at those now and I'm like, bro, at any moment, any of us could have killed everybody in the van.
I don't know.
So when did you get clean?
So after that day, this was probably, I think I had gone through my phase for about 8 months, almost a year, that I was going through everything. Once I had done that, once I had that moment, I literally stopped like that day. And then from then on, I haven't touched cocaine. I did Molly a couple years later.
I see. The thing about is that it sounds like you're one of those substance addicts, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you can do Molly here and there and not have an issue, right? You can smoke weed and know when to stop to take your tea breaks or whatever. But Coke just had a grip on you.
You know what's funny though is because like I don't even know how to explain it because like yeah, I guess I think that it was just one of those things where it was an era of my life where like the only people I was spending time with were doing that. And that's all we kind of did was just did Coke, smoke weed, drink, get fucked up, hang out, da-da-da-da-da. So it's like, if you weren't doing that, then like, what was the point of hanging out? You know, like in my head.
It's like, why are we here if we're not?
Yeah. And so like, I mean, that's not the case because like I was there to like, those are my friends, you know, and, like I still love them.
Also, you were working.
Yeah. So
you were also like, why am I here if I'm not getting high? It's like I'm here to make pizza.
Well, I meant like outside of like even working because like when we would hang out outside of work, that's what we would do anyways.
Right. Oh yeah, that's how it was when I worked for the steakhouse. It's like there was just pills, alcohol, and Coke galore.
So it was like I don't know, like it's one of those things where I never bought stuff directly myself. I always my friend usually ended up going, so I was like, hey yo, pick me up a bag, like da 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 da, you know. So it wasn't like I was fiending, like, because there would be weeks where I didn't have anything, you know, or like there would be like a week or two where we were just like, we were all chilling out, nobody was really doing anything, or like I had other shit I had to do because I was still like just out of high school or whatever. Or no, I guess this was a while after I was out of high school, but like whatever. So either way, so like for me, it wasn't one of those things where like I was like, yo, bro, I gotta get cocaine right fucking now or I'm gonna lose it.
Nah,
you know?
I feel you.
You know, so like I never did drastic shit like that. Like I've done that for like nicotine. There have been times where I'm on the verge of being like, bro, I will rob a goddamn gas station for some fucking pods.
Bro, how many times have you gone through? Because again, I've had substance issues too, but I've never needed alcohol or Adderall or whatever so bad that I would like find all of the dude. There was a time when I was living in Westwood, I didn't have smokes I was working in construction, and I ran out of money for cigarettes, and I was literally like walking down the street looking for pennies and nickels and shit.
This is. You know what? I'm going to give you an exclusive, bro.
I love exclusives.
This is fucking gross. And I don't want y'all to judge me whatsoever. I used to be on some gross ass shit, bro. When I was like fiending, like in my heyday, because this is when I was like a pack and a half Newport smoker a day. Okay. So like I'm going through like almost 2 packs a day.
I was in the same boat.
I used to be so depressed and like so fucked up on my shit. Like I used to be in my bedroom, I would chain smoke. So I would chain smoke in my bedroom, which I don't know why the fuck my grandpa let me do that shit. That was gross, bro. That was nasty.
You know what? Looking back, I get that because like I quit smoking obviously when I was going through all the cancer shit. And well, mostly quit smoking. I'll have one here and there, like if I'm drinking or somebody. If there's too many people smoking around me, I have to ask for one. It's like that Finding Nemo moment when they're at like the Fisher Friends fucking meeting, and then like Bruce is like, everyone chill, and then Dory's nose starts bleeding. He's like, no, I'm gonna eat that fucking fish. I have like Bruce-like tendencies around nicotine. So if too many people smoke around me at once, but we're like. So in every apartment I'd ever had, up to the one I have now with Alyssa, like I would just chain smoke in those motherfuckers.
Dude, that's
like
what
my
I'm
place
saying.
in Middletown, the place in the place I lived in Westwood. The only reason I didn't smoke in the second place I lived in Westwood was because my roommate hated it. So like technically our landlord hated it. And he lived upstairs, but none here nor there. So like I think about it now, and it's just like, dude, if somebody tried to light a cigarette in my apartment, I would kick them in their tits.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Gross. It smells bad.
It's like I don't want my apartment to smell like that. And then it's like the whole time you're doing that, you don't recognize that your apartment smells like shit. You honestly forget that what cigarettes smell like for a while.
Dude, I used to chain smoke in my bedroom. I used to chain smoke in my fucking truck when I had my truck, and like it puts like a film of like grossness in your car, in your bedroom, whatever. But like, so now what I was saying before, that's not even the gross thing that I would do. You know how you were talking about you would go and like pick up like nickels and dimes and shit off the floor, bro. I had like a makeshift ashtray made out of a cup, like a cup from like Burger King or something.
Right.
Bro, listen, this is the old me, okay? I have changed my ways. Do not fucking judge me. I swear to God,
this is a no judgment zone, unless it's really funny.
I'm not like this anymore. I swear to God, I'm not. But that thing, when I started using it as a thing, like as a ashtray for like all of my dead cigarettes, like it still had liquid in it. So it was gross. That thing got full. I had a large cup of like the Burger King cups are big as fuck,
yeah, they're
right?
big as hell.
That thing was full of cigarettes, bro. And they were like, the ones at the bottom were like soaked in like old pop resin, and like it was all dry and gross at this point. When I would get desperate, bro, I would pull ends out of that fucking ashtray and I would smoke them.
Okay, here's why I'm not going to judge you. You ready? So I started smoking cigarettes, it's fine. Those are the ones that shed.
Me.
It's fine. So, hey, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's not fine. He's going to yell at me later. So, I say technically because it's like when people ask you how old were you when you started smoking or started doing something, especially with smoking cigarettes, it's not like the first time you ever smoke, like
you just continue.
That's your habit
happened.
now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like when I was, growing up, my dad smoked, and he used to be like, "You better not fucking do this thing." Right. But I also probably have autism. And anytime someone tells me I can't or won't do something, immediately it's like, okay, no, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? Or whenever somebody's like, you're doing this, I'm just like, bet I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a problem. It's why I've had hard times holding jobs over the years. But coming up, we were badass kids, bro. And
me too.
And we would steal cigarettes from him, or we would steal cigarettes from our neighbor's grandmom. Or if we couldn't do either of those two things, we would just walk down the street and just find cigarette butts. And then we would go in our little hiding place and smoke them. Like, that's how I started. Like, I was a little 8-9-year-old little kid just walking around my dad's town, just grabbing cigarettes off the floor, then hiding off the ground, and then just hiding in this big pine tree he used to have in his backyard, just smoking them.
Mm-hmm.
That's also where we used to smoke weed. We would, because my dad used to have this shed, and right next to this shed was this real big pine tree in his backyard. And like, there was like an opening behind the, and it's like, if you're looking at the shed and the tree's right here, there's like an opening in the tree right here. Yeah. And you could literally just go chill inside. Honestly, as a grown adult, that's where I would smoke weed.
It's kind of fucking
sick. It's like, if that was my setup, I would just have like chairs and shit back there.
Yeah,
That's just where I would.
Kind of dope.
That would just be where I smoke weed. You know what I mean? But like, so we would go in there. We would do all types of dumb shit in there. We'd fist fight in there when we didn't want to get seen. We'd fucking do drugs in there. It was a great time. But no, that's why I can't judge you. Because, but at least at that point, you're smoking what you smoked. I'm smoking what strangers smoked. I probably have herpes right now.
But I'm also smoking fucking,
it's gross.
Pop-coated, gross. There are times where I thought I was just like, I was going to up and die. Like, bro, I was like, yo, this is it.
I mean, the benefit of that, though, is like when you're a pack a day or 2 pack a day smoker, you're not finishing every cigarette. You know what I mean?
No.
You're smoking until you feel done,
bro.
You smoke it until you feel done. And like most of the time, that's not all of it. You know what I mean? Especially because it's like you're going to light another one in 30 minutes. You're never like feeling super needy.
Yep.
So you never feel like you have, especially, did you smoke hundreds?
Yep.
See,
Newport 100s.
especially when you have hundreds,
because
they
burn
half
for
a cigarette.
so long. You're
enough.
like, yeah, I'm all right, I'm good. Like,
you know what I mean? It's like you smoke a cigarette, and then when you're out of cigarettes, you just have like a whole half a pack of full regular sized cigarettes left. Yeah. I get that, dude. There's been times I've picked cigarettes out of my own ashtrays before and just been like, fuck it.
Nah, but I'm so glad that I fucking stopped, because just like the people that I know that still smoke, like, I can't stand the smell anymore. Like, I'm lucky, because like I really thought that me switching to the Juul was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna lessen how much I smoke. But in reality, like it completely cut it.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, this is a Juul.
See, I thought that was a weed pen.
No, I don't.
The whole time
weed.
I was like, this bro gonna sit here and hit this weed pen in front of me after I told him I left mine at home and not even offer it to me.
That's why I was confused. You said you left it at home, and I was like,
we were talking about different things the whole time. No, this thing doesn't leave my hand, as you've noticed.
Yeah,
I'll play with it, I'll set it down, and then as soon as I set it down, I pick it
back up. Yep.
Okay, so I have not seen any studies of these that don't trace back to like a tobacco lobbyist funding it. So I don't know what the fucking side effects of these are, but they have to be better than cigarettes,
they
right?
Okay, they're not fine. I'm kidding.
They're not.
But in comparison,
you're putting artificial flavors in your lungs.
In comparison to putting like the tar and everything else that goes into like a natural
pesticides
cigarette. Yeah, the
shit.
pesticides that go into that. I would say whatever is in this tiny little pod, like, I'm sure it's not as bad. Like, it can't be as
honestly
bad.
Cancer is not even the worst part about smoking cigarettes. It's what all the other shit causes. It's the fucking heart failure and the fucking, I mean, cancer's pretty bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say cancer's pretty bad.
Cancer's pretty bad. As a cancer survivor, I hate that. I fucking hate saying that I'm a cancer. But as a cancer survivor, as a person who had cancer, like,
as a cancer dominator,
as a cancer conqueror.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've been using the word conqueror a lot lately.
Conqueror.
You write songs. Maybe you can relate to this. Are there words that you just, like, they exist, but they don't exist in, like, your daily life, and then every once in a while you just remember they exist and you just start overusing the fuck out of them?
Yeah.
I do that shit all the time.
Yep.
Like Precipice, when I said that earlier, like that's one of them. Like I can't remember why. I was playing Pokemon Go and I was explaining something to Alyssa, and because she was asking me about like I don't know if you play Pokemon or not, but there's a Pokemon named Groudon, and in the later games and the remakes, he has another form. It's called his primal form, and he gets a move called Precipice Blades. And like I was explaining that to Alyssa, and she's like, "Ooh, Precipice Blades is kind of fire," and I was like, "Isn't it?" And then I just started thinking about the word precipice for like the last 3 days. Now I just say precipice whenever I get the chance. It's a fun one.
That happens when I'm writing a lot. Like if I'm writing music a lot, and I latch onto like a word, fucking not ops. There was one. Oh, Jake's. So Jake's. So like there was like a line that Mike helped me write for
I feel like Slim Jesus put you on the Jake train.
Jake's, bro, like for the ops, like for cops and shit.
Yeah.
And Mike, because Mike's from New York, so they use Jake's out there a lot more than they do out here.
Right.
And so like he was like, use this. And I was like, okay. And then I said something for the Jake's. And I was like, yo, that kind of hits. So then I used it in like 3 different songs that I wrote after that, bro. But then it wasn't natural anymore. So I was like, fuck it. And I scrapped it all.
See, I had a problem with concepts. Like there's certain things that like I have like to actively work against when I'm writing songs. Cause it's like religious content is like, cause I was a annoyingly large, well, not annoying, I was probably also fat then, but like I was like super into Christianity at a young age. And like after a while, I'm not now, but I'm still obsessed with like religious lore, not necessarily like Christian lore. I mean, it is pretty fascinating, but like just religious lore in general, like from mythology to like paganism, stuff like that. Like I love learning about like the structure and rituals and stories around religious views and stuff like that. And like, you know, when you're a younger songwriter, and when you're in your, you know, teens to your 20s, you are a younger songwriter. You only have so much to pull from. You know what I mean? And like every single time I would write I would always just find myself writing religious bars in everything I wrote.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, I've got to steer away from this. I mean, they're good, but they're too easy. And I bring them up it's like, do you know who Bring Me the Horizon is? Mm-hmm. Did you listen to their older stuff?
Not really.
If you go listen to like all you have to do is listen from Sempiternal to the album That's the Spirit that comes out right after. Between those 2 albums, Dog mentions his wolves and like 70% of the songs he writes. And it's like, I get it, wolves are cool, but relax. And now with the whole alpha movement online, like if you go back and listen to it, it just sounds like Andrew Tate made a song. It's great.
Yeah, I have to. The biggest thing that I have a problem with that is like, I think that like as an artist, like we as artists, like you sometimes tend to overanalyze your own lyrics. You listen to your songs 100 times more than anyone else is going to, you know?
That's a fair point.
And at least for like at the level that I'm at, like I don't have hardcore like diehard fans, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like when I'm listening to a song and I'm like, man, this song is starting to get stale, and like this song, like this line isn't like aging the way that I want it to. And like, it's mainly just because you over listen to your fucking songs. So I feel like, because I'll take a break from listening to tracks that I've made recently, and then I'll come back like 2 months later and I'm like, holy shit, this is good as fuck. I'm like, yo, this is so good.
Yeah, I've had songs that I don't like for years, and then I hear like one of the most popular songs I ever wrote, I fucking hated until like 3 years ago. Like it just happens. And I explained this to someone else before. It's like, it's not even just about like the song itself. It's like, cause there's a process. And when things happen that piss you off throughout the process, every time you hear the song, like those things are going to piss you off again. So like it took me like fucking 4 years to get over how annoying the process of this one song was, to the point where people be like, that's your guys' best song, it's going to blow up. And I'd be like, okay.
Sure.
Like it's a shit song. I don't know why. It's the biggest stream song I have. But, you know, now I can appreciate it more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that I don't do music anymore, it's a lot easier to appreciate the body of work that I did create while I was doing it.
Dude, it's so bad. Like, every time I'm not making music, I'm like, and then I go back to listen to the music that I make, I get pissed off because I'm like, I'll go through my discography and I'll be like, damn, I don't have that many songs. I'm like, I always feel like in the moments, I'm like, I come out of the studio with like 2, 3, 4 songs, depending on how long of a studio session I get. And I'm like, I should have more, right? Like, I feel like I should have more than this. And then I just like, don't. Like, damn, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay, so I'm going to switch gears here because I wanted to steer mostly away from this because today's about you.
Oh, okay.
But I do, for our listeners, want to point out because your cousin,
my cousin,
happens to be one of my closest friends, dare say family.
So, I mean,
introduced him
what's
to
up,
his,
uncle?
what's up, bro? Introduced him to his baby mom. Or, well, his girlfriend, technically, I guess. And all that. So I do want to just explore for a moment the fact that you are cousins with young Moshley.
Yeah.
And
you've heard the story of how they found that out, right?
Vaguely. I know it was at the first Blacklight event.
No, it was before that.
Was it before that?
Yeah, so here, I'll explain to you, because I assume, like, we could talk about this. This is so funny. So, shout out Wes, bro. I fucking love you, cousin, bro. What's good?
Real quick, he said your government, not me. Go ahead.
Oh,
he yells
shit,
at me every time I'm on
Hey,
here.
shit. Shout out Young
It's
Mosh.
okay. It's okay. We were doing
you my cousin. Get the fuck out of here. He's my blood.
we were doing the bonus content with him, and I told him he could say whatever he wanted. And you know Wes, so he's just letting them rip, just hard R's everywhere. And I accidentally said his whole name. He's like, you don't put my whole name out there, bro. Oh, but anyway.
Hold on. Circle back. He said hard R's. Hold up.
When these cameras go off, I'm gonna introduce you to a side of your cousin.
Oh, goodness gracious. We're going to have a talk. Nah, so, okay, look. So this is what's funny. I was like kind of a prick. Like I was a little prick back then.
Aren't we all?
And I was like just starting to like really take music seriously. And, you know, like every time I'd come back from the studio with something, I'd show my mom. My mom loved listening to my shit, and like my grandparents, whatever. And I'm really blessed that like my family, like I could say whatever I wanted on a track, like about whatever. And like, they'd be like, this is so good. Like, you're doing so great. You're really going to make it. Like, bro, my song's about like fucking bitches and killing niggas. And I'm like,
thanks,
like,
G-Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Like, yo, appreciate you. It's like, they just appreciated that like I had the ability to make something like that. Right.
Right.
So when I started taking it more serious, like, and I was going to like Blacklight, and I guess before I was going to Blacklight, before I had found like a studio that I wanted to work at, but even when I was working on shit, I would show my mom, and she would be like, oh, you know, you got a cousin that makes music. And I'm like 16 at this time, like 16, 17 at this time. She's like, you got a cousin that makes music. You should do music with him. And I was like, okay, like, what does it sound like? And hey, bro, let me reiterate, I was a fucking prick. And I was like, I didn't understand my music taste at that time, because they're completely different than what they are now.
When you're a teenager, you don't really have a music taste. I don't think people really start listening to music until they're like early 20s.
So with that being said, I used to listen to the dumbest fucking shit, bro. And I thought I wanted to be like this type of style rapper. Like, bro, it was bad.
What type of style rapper?
I'm not, I don't even want to get it.
Oh. Was it Lil Yachty?
No.
Were you a Lil Yachty guy?
Lil Yachty wasn't out when I was 17.
I don't know how old you are.
I'm 25.
Oh.
So anyways, so like I really shouldn't say it because it's bad. Like,
I want to hear it. You're not into that now, and that's what's important. So you can tell me and I can laugh at you about it.
Futuristic.
Wow. Like the dude who would just like post videos of him freestyling on college campuses?
Futuristic and
were you a Logic
like
fan?
Old school Eminem and when I was like young. And then
what's old school Eminem to you?
Like anything before Recovery.
So
like anything like
so
Marshall
like
Curtain Call, or Curtain Call, is that what it is?
Curtain Call, was that the fourth one?
Curtain Call was his fourth one, and then anything before that.
So like all the way, so Slim Shady LP all the way up to
Infinite.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what? To this day, I've still never heard the entirety of Infinite.
It's not good.
I didn't think it would be.
It's not good. I think people praise it because like, oh, he's a GOAT, blah, 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 whatever, even though he's not anymore.
We can talk about that.
We can, but going back though, so
it's important that you know I'm not a huge Eminem fan.
Yeah, no, I mean I used to be, but it is what it is. So like, yeah, like when I started actually doing rap though, like Futuristic, I used to think was like so dope, and then fucking Tech Nine, I used to listen to MGK.
I still fuck with MGK.
I can't.
I am the gunner.
I can't. So back then it was like Lace Up, you know what I'm saying? Like that was MGK. So like all that shit. I used to like
the first Lace Up, because there was two Lace Ups.
Yeah.
There was the 100 Words of Running mixtape, which still is fire to this day, and then there was Lace Up, which was also good, and then the Bad Boy Lace Up came out, and that one was hit or miss.
So like. Now looking back, like there's nothing wrong with, like, I still appreciate Tech Nine as like an independent artist. He's one of the greatest independent artists like of all time.
Arguably the largest one.
Yeah. And so like, and he's done something where, and I'll only talk about this for a second, but he's done something I want to say that is impressive as an independent artist and someone so old. And old, and by what I mean by that is like old, like in the music industry.
Yeah, in the music industry, if you're over like 41.
Yeah, like you should be retiring.
Yeah.
But like the fact that he can pivot and still make listenable music to this day is something even Eminem can't do.
Well, that's the thing about artists that are in that age bracket. They're the 40s and up. You know what I mean? Is that if you're not already goated, you know what I mean? Stop. You know what I mean? And
if you had a heyday, in that heyday, like you're like that style doesn't work in the modern age.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Like if the Eminem show came out right now, as we are, as grown adults, would you really have fucked with it that much? Two trailer park girls go around the outside. Would you have given a shit?
No,
it was fire for what it was.
Thing.
You know what I mean? But then you look at like the difference between like him and someone like Jay-Z. You can go back and listen to any album Jay-Z has made, and the production's going to be less. You know what I mean? It's not going to feel as impactful as it does as what he does now. But it's like it still holds up.
Yeah,
you know
even like the newer shit that he did. The fucking what was the one with the. Was it 444?
Yeah, the one he did like basically is his like I'm sorry letter to Lemonade.
Yeah, and it had the dope ass music video of the fucking cartoon. Yeah, like that shit is still like to this day like not a bad
like
record.
He came out of retirement and everybody was like, why? You know what I mean? And then he drops the Blueprint 3, which is just as good as any other album he's ever made.
Yeah,
and that's where I look at the difference between like people who are goated to the degree that like Jay-Z is. Like Jay-Z can release an album whenever the fuck he wants. Eminem, I haven't listened to the new one yet. I heard it's good, but again,
I don't know who you heard that by.
Listen, all of the people that I have seen post about how good that album, this is why I haven't listened to it yet, is they're white people. And this is gonna sound fucked, but I don't like most of the artists that most other white people I know like, as far as hip hop goes.
Yeah,
so
it's because
like
they like
I don't
people like fucking what's that one dude with the braids? White people love that dude.
Are you talking about Tom McDonald?
Yeah,
Oh,
fucking
God.
Tom McDonald, bro. White people love that man, bro. They're like, that's the hip hop I like, brother.
But no, like every single person I've seen post about like Eminem's album being good have been white people. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't trust your opinion. I don't. Like, and it's not like because I think that like any group of people's, you know, opinion on any type of artist or music from any type of genre is any more or less than anyone else's. It's just because what I find is that white people who like hip hop don't really like hip hop. They like.
I was gonna say no. We could just say it.
They like shit that white people
like appropriated hip hop.
Oh yeah.
Or like majority of white people like appropriated hip hop. They like cleansed hip hop. They like very very special select cuts of hip hop.
It's a very specific like vibe of rap music.
Yeah, because once you go outside of that and you start getting into like things that POC culture can appreciate and white people can't understand. And then it becomes a thing of,
and that is, and that is indicative of like how like tribalistic our society is. I mean, like it makes sense. Like you like music that you feel like you understand or you can relate to or that sits with you well. And it makes sense that, you know, the masses of Caucasians that don't understand the types of things that rappers talk about wouldn't like the types of things rappers talk about.
But I don't think that necessarily attributes to like tribalism per se. I think you have to have the capacity to appreciate something outside of your wheelhouse.
I also think that that's important. That's actually a super deep thing you just said, because I agree with you in that conceptually. The problem is in practice, most people have no interest in that.
Yeah, but I think that says more about like coldness of our society in like understanding cultures that aren't our own.
Yeah, there's definitely a stubbornness that people have to their own perspective. Like most people, when they feel some type of way, they only look at it from the one lane they're in, and they don't care enough or haven't seen enough of the
Anything
world
else.
around them to look and think of anything's other way. And to a degree, there is a little bit of unwillful ignorance that goes into how people look at what other people are doing. Because it's like, if you don't understand where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing, you're obviously going to see it only from what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's, I
heard
the
this,
reason why I say, what's up?
I heard this, just to add to kind of what you're saying, Tank the Tech, on YouTube, fantastic channel. He talks about this, and he's like, you have to understand that as an artist, when you're looking at what people listen to, it's going to be frustrating because people in general want easy listening experiences. It's like, I totally different kind of thing from what you guys are talking about, but like, you know, I'm a fan of like Tool and Mastodon, you know, weird time signatures. It's more challenging music to wrap your head around.
White people shit.
Not like
I'm just
No, like-
I'm just joking.
Most white
Hello,
people
too.
don't like this shit either.
That's a good
because
point.
it's hard to listen to. It takes more of your focus to really get into what's happening in the music versus, you know, just four on the floor rhythms, just straight easy beats, simple lyricism. You know, like you said, you start getting into more POC culture lyricism, that shit's deeper. There's more poetic nuance going on in there. It's harder to think about that shit.
It's harder to empathize with
Well,
when
and
you
people-
haven't experienced it.
What did Amanda Seales say? You can't enjoy the rhythm and hate the blues.
I mean, I'm sure that's something along those lines, but yeah, it falls into that same category of like, it's harder to listen to it. The average person would have to literally put work into listening to the stuff that we would probably like, that they don't want to have to, it's not as important to them to put that work in. Like, why do I have to try to enjoy this music?
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? And like, it's not that they're necessarily stubborn. It's just that
And
they
that-
don't have
that
the perspective
compounds-
at all.
I think that compounds on like a lot of shit because like over the years, like being a musician and like putting myself out there more into the music that I want to create and like learning more genres, there were times where like, if you would have asked me like years ago, I would never have thought I liked that genre. I hated like industrial metal. Like I hated metal that had like breakdowns and fucking guttural screams in it when I was like 17, 18. Because I was like, this is fucking lame. Like, there's no melody, but like, listen,
I can't sing along.
Yeah, like I can't, you know, and so like it took me until, and it's so funny. It could be the most innocuous thing, right? It's the same thing for like white people accepting and appreciating like black consciousness in music. Like it takes a moment for you to try to like empathize and fully understand the music that you want to listen to for you to then gain an appreciation for it. So like in my case, like I was like listening to a lot of like Schoolboy Q and rap and like hip hop and like regular pop and shit. And like I would, you know, I like grew up on Tool and like Marilyn Manson and like in Slipknot and shit. But that was like the fray of what I was listening to. And then I had friends that listened to like black metal. And so I used to hate it. And then like a year or two later, I'm listening to like 100 Gex going, this shit's hard as fuck. And you know why? Because like you gain an appreciation for what they're trying to do. And I take that into the music that I do now. And it's like, it doesn't all have to sound pretty. It doesn't all have to sound melodic. It doesn't all have to do this. It doesn't have to be a specific thing that you think is in like this musical idea. Because sometimes a song is supposed to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or sometimes a song is supposed to make you feel like upset. Or like it's not supposed to sound good.
It's challenging.
Yeah,
it's challenging
and
to
you
listen
have to
to.
appreciate that to understand like why something can be so good. And the biggest thing that made me like metal like that, the Doom soundtrack, the new one, the 2016 Doom.
Badass.
The
dude.
Eternal?
No. So Doom 2016.
Okay.
So Mick Gordon did the Doom 2016, which by the way, that was the one. Was it that one or Eternal that Wes was on?
Eternal was the one. West
West
one. That's
was
why
on,
I
yeah.
was asking. 'Cause
Yeah.
how crazy would that
Yeah,
be?
that shit was funny as hell. So like, so it took until like then, like when I was playing Doom, to be like, yo, this shit goes hard. Like it gets me amped while I'm playing the game. Like maybe this shit is hard as fuck. So then you go out and you start listening to like fucking Genghis Tron, which is like stoner, like hardcore metal, and then like fucking Gojira, which I'm pretty sure, which I saw live, Death Grips, which is like more into the hip hop realm, but like hip hop realm of like aggressive music. And that's like kind of where my entire ideology of music shifted. And it went from like that and then mixing with popular culture and like seeing X come up and then seeing Ski Mask come up and like those people in those wheelhouses and mixing all of that at the same time. And like, it just gave me the style that I have today, which is so funny because like I never would have expected to make music like this like 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Do you think 16-year-old you would like the music you make now?
Fuck no.
That's like the
fuck no.
But that's
absolutely not.
But that's like a mark of growth, though. You know what I mean?
No,
like
absolutely.
that just shows the diversity in your music taste as you're aging, and I think that's important. Like the older you get, the more sounds you should appreciate. If you get to a point in your life where you're 45 and you still listen to the same 30 songs you listened to in high school, it's like, I mean, that's good for you if that you get the enjoyment out of it. Cool.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like you're not
opening
growing
yourself up.
You know
for
what I mean?
anything.
I feel like that's just like a good like measurement of growth because music is so impactful in the way people think and the way people present themselves and the way people interact with other people. I mean, look at how like hip hop jargon and the culture around it have shaped like the younger generations just in their everyday lives. Like it's very like it's a big factor as to like the things that interest you are the things that like you present. So like if you're only listening to like 30 songs that you listened to in the 60s or whatever, you're still presenting that same minimal perspective, which goes back to what you were saying about people not looking into other people's perspectives enough. And it is a plague. I reference tribalism in that like people have no interest in, kind of stepping outside of their own perspective because it's comfortable here. They're safe here. Yeah. You know what I mean? In order to understand the types of things, you know what I mean? You would have to interact with things in or around that culture or whatever, and that's not safe if you feel comfortable where you're at. But we were talking about you meeting.
I was just about to say, bro, I was literally waiting for you to finish that because I was like, damn, didn't we get here from talking about how I met?
This is one of those times where I wish we still had 3-hour episodes.
Bro, I was like, damn, we got off topic.
But anyway, so you're 16, 17 years old.
So yeah, so I had very different music tastes back then. So my mom's like, oh, you should do something. Your cousin Wesley does music. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, sick. And I didn't know who he was. Like, we have a big ass family. I don't know if you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I've
like,
met so many different branches of it.
Dude, it's so, I have fucking cousins I've never met still to this day. So like, like
you're on his mom's side, right?
Yeah. My mom is my
shout out to
connection
Wes's
that.
mom. I love that woman.
But so like, she's like, yeah, he does this music and blah blah blah. And then I remember I being in the car and she played one of his songs and I was like, metal shit is ass. I was like, this is terrible.
Can you give me like a what year would you say if you had to estimate this was?
Oh, it had to be like 2016, maybe 16, 17, somewhere in that era, like 2015 to 17. I think.
So you would have been listening to like the EP stuff with like Chains,
like
and fucking
it would have been like really early stuff.
Yeah.
So, bro, I'm like, yo, this is like, bleh, like I hate this, like, because I was not into metal at that time, like at all, bro. So I'm like, all right, like, fuck no, like, da 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 da. And then like high school goes on, shit happens. I start going to Blacklight. So I'm at Blacklight for a year or two at this point. I've been working with Max for like at least a year at this point because it was 2020 when this happened, I think. And I don't know how it came up, but I think I was talking to my mom again, and then she was like, oh yeah, like, your cousin Wesley in that band. And I was like, what's the name of the band? And they said, The World I Knew. And so, I was like, okay, The World I Knew. So it was in the back of my head. So I remember I was doing a session with Max, and I'm pretty sure Max and I were talking about like his stuff outside of there. And he was like, yeah, and I'm in a band. It's called The World I Knew. And I was like, cause like, before that, the Doom Eternal documentary came out, and I saw Wes on it. And that's why I was asking. Cause I was like, because I was asking my mom, I was like, isn't that the band he was in? I was like, yeah, that's my cousin. So like, bet, like, that's my cousin. Hell yeah. And then I went into a session and he was like, yeah, I'm in the band, like the World I Knew. And I was like, wait, you know Wesley? Like, Max, who I've been working with for like a year at this point. I'm like, you know Wesley? He's like, dude, Wesley's like my best friend. I was like, oh.
They grew up together.
No fucking shit, bro. I was like, what a small world. So then, unfortunately, not too long goes after that, I was like, that's crazy. Like, oh, we should all hang out and like get together, blah, blah, blah. And so my great-grandmother, or I think it's his great-grandmother too, or maybe it's his grandmother, she passed in 2020. Nina Mama, because I'm pretty sure he wrote a song or a verse about her or something. I don't remember what he wrote exactly.
I remember him talking about her passing.
Yeah. So the first time that I'm pretty sure, run into Wesley like in person was at her funeral. And like I caught him outside of the funeral. I was like, yo, do you know Max? And he's like, yeah, I know Max. And I was like, no shit, bro, that's my engineer. He's like, oh shit. And so we like fucking linked up and everything. And that's how I found out. I was like, okay, cool. So that's my cousin. He just be doing music with my engineer.
Dude, what a networking opportunity.
Dude, it's so crazy.
It goes to a funeral, so like, bro, I'm gonna link up
crazy.
with this.
Okay, look, I didn't mean it like that.
No, you didn't, but I took it that way, and that's what matters.
Bro. Look, I was just like, hey, bro, like, what's up, cousin? Like, how you doing? That's crazy. So from then on, like, I work with Max, and I've just been in that community for so long. And Max ended up like putting me on literally every one of almost all of the opportunities I got as a musician are because of Max. I played my first shows because, I played my first shows because of him. He helped manage my content and like in managing like my overall like music career for a while, and like got me in touch with like brand people, graphic designers, and then we put together a track. I don't know if Wes has ever talked about it, but you probably heard it performed. We play it a lot.
Yeah.
The fucking Snap Maps thing.
Yeah.
And like we're working on that, and it's like ever since then, like it's just been crazy. It's been such a crazy coincidence that all that happened and linked the way that it did. But it's so funny to me every time.
Dude, I get so excited when I see you perform with them. Like every single time you come up and do that song with them, I get stoked.
Bro, I get nervous every time.
Dude, I'm
gonna fuck up the lyrics again.
Cause I've been on stage with The World I Knew. You know what I mean? And I did music with smaller artists way before. You know what I mean? So like there's a difference. Like when you're performing with somebody like especially now, because Young Mosh fucking draws now, bro. Like when you look out for a performance, you're used to seeing, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 people there. And then you go up on stage to do this other song with somebody, and then you look out of that same crowd and there's fucking 350, 500 people there. You're like, oh shit. But no, I just thought that's so interesting, like, because like Wes and I talked, or not Wes, but Max and I talked about this when he was here. Like, that's just in y'all's blood. Like, there is something about the two of you who have, you grew up not knowing each other. You come from completely different backgrounds. You know what I mean? And then you both have just this commanding stage presence, just this completely captivating, like, showmanship.
Thanks, Pookie.
Well, I had to say something nice. I haven't said something nice all day. Yeah. You asked my girlfriend. She was mad at me before I left. But I mean that, like, and it's cool watching you two perform together, because it's like, bro, that shit is just in their blood.
Bro, it's I love doing the performances with him, but it's so chaotic because with the sound setup that we have for all of those shows, you never know what the fuck is gonna happen. So like every time I go up, I'm like, bro, am I using his mic? Am I using his mic? Like, where the fuck am I gonna stand? I'm trying not to trip.
I don't want to run into any of these five guys on stage.
I don't want to fucking bump into anybody, bro. It's
especially
scary.
not Alex. He'll knock you the fuck out.
That dude's a brick shit
by
ass.
accident.
The largest Mexican the world ever did see.
I get so worried. I was like, I'm not trying to fucking trip over somebody's cord or anything and freak. It's fucking bad. But at the end of the day, I love performing with them because it's so fucking, I don't know. Plus with that song, let me tell you something. I just want to say that was my wheelhouse of like trap metal, because when we recorded the song originally, I was like, because that's my song, right? So like, I'm like, all right, I want this specific vibe. And Wesley, like, so Wes does like, he does like a certain type of trap metal that's separated from me. What I consider is like him is like traditional trap metal, and then like I do like alternative grunge hip hop. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I guess I think that'd be a good way to put it.
Like if we were to separate the genres.
Yeah.
So like the way that he screams on songs is actually like super different than the way that I scream on songs. So like when we were doing the hook, he was like doing it in a very like typical, like, or not typical, but like a very like traditional like metal vocalist like screaming, and I was like, no.
Hip hop screams are new to him.
And that's why it was interesting, like going through the process with him, because I was like, we were in there at Max's place, like recording. I was like, all right, I want you to drop everything you know about how you scream on your other songs, and I think that's what I told him. I was like, and I just want you to scream like you're fucking angry at somebody, like scream like somebody just like hit your car or something.
Chester Bennington shit.
Yeah. And I was like, just use like the most fucking like soul. He's like, and it was just like, okay, cool. And then he did it and it sounded completely different. And I was like, hey, yo, you matched my shit, bro. Like, let's go. Like, and it turned out so sick. Like that song is so fucking sick. And I can't wait for it to, damn.
You didn't give a fuck about your equipment.
I know, I'm sorry.
You yelled at me about shedding fucking earphones. You're not said a word to him about over him just fucking shadow boxing your mic.
I didn't yell at you for shit.
Yeah,
what the fuck are you talking about? Your girlfriend yelled at you about that.
Whatever.
You guys ready to get this bonus content?
Yeah. Well, I want to just ask one more question before we do that. So, you have talked about a lot about like Blacklight, and then Wes and Max and all that. Mm-hmm. So, I want to ask you, how much do you think, as far as your progress up to this point, Max and or your connection with Max and Blacklight have really benefited you in your trajectory?
That I wouldn't be doing music if it wasn't for them.
Shout out to Blacklight.
Shout out to Blacklight. 100%. Whenever people come to the city, whenever I talk to musicians anywhere, I always tell them to go to Blacklight. I tell them almost 90% of the time, you got potential. Like if people send me tracks and shit, I'm like, you got potential. Go to Blacklight and have them mix your shit, and you will sound like a professional artist.
That's where I send people that are asking as well. Like actually, like not to get too deep into it because we do need to wrap this up at some point. Like my brother-in-law was going to Tony for like a year and a half, and I didn't even know. Like that's where his band, The Wonderlands, records or was recording. I think they're in Tennessee now, so I think they record somewhere else. But but I was in the world, or I shouldn't say in. I was with the world I knew when he was going to Max, and I had no fucking idea. So like when he brought up that like he was going to Blacklight, I was like, what? Do you know Max? He's like, yeah, I know Max. I was like, I know Max. We know the same person. It was just crazy. But no, shout out to Blacklight. I honestly do believe, as far as like pure studios in the city, they're among the best, if not the best. But we are running. We need to flip over to the OnlyFans content.
Ooh.
Shout out to Young Mosh for that. Where can they find you?
You can find all of my music on every streaming platform. If you want to hear any of the unreleased shit, you want to hit SoundCloud. But Kanto, Kanto XX, on all of the streaming platforms. And if you want to hit me on socials, it's Kanto, Kanto.xx. So yeah.
Well, for the sake of wrapping this one up, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been a phenomenal conversation.
Yeah,
I wish it could be an hour and a half longer. But we got stuff to do.
We do got shit to do.
So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Millennials Suck Podcast on everything. Shout out to the Bump Yard. Shout out to millennialsucktopodcast.com. Shout out to Foreman Creative. And shout out to our new OnlyFans, which I don't know the link to it. I imagine
MS Plus. OnlyFans.com/MSPLUS.
You got it. There it is. You've been great. We've been great.
You have.
See you next time. Foreman, if you don't mind.
As always.